experience and why should we consider it. My name is Barroca, and I'm a mobile user experience consultant. In the past, I used to be an information designer, and now I'm the last 3-4 years I've been focused on mobile. Sorry if I'm doing the presentation because UX and not mobile is basically all. If I'm instead saying slide, saying mobile. We're going to go basically across 5 things that is important. If anyone wants to shout like a question, whatever, during the presentation, be free, no problem. Let's get a bit of interaction on this. And if I'm probably repeat the word experience. First is what is user experience? The ROI is return on investment of user experience. Designing for interaction. From idea to wireframe, at this level I'm just moving into, okay, if I have an idea and I want to put that on wireframe, what's the steps, and I'm going to bring a little bit of what I'm talking about in the other 3 points, and in the end tooling tips. It's going to be very simple presentation as well. What is UX? This is a big definition I can read basically, but the idea with this quote, basically, I'm going to do that. I expect that people using interactive products the way it felt in the event, but in this case, this specific was a more product that you can take. But while they understand how it works, how easy it is, basically, how it felt about what I'm using it, if it serves for the purposes or not. It's very important how it fits on the entire context in which I'm using it. But looking into this, I can improve the user experience of this particular code, moving into this. When you build a product, very important thing that we need to take into consideration is basically how valuable that product is for users. It's very important to understand and useful as well. If I'm using that every day, or if I can just throw, when I'm talking about product, it could be a newsletter, a website, an app, an interactive cash machine, whatever, desirable. If I want to use that every day and I can spread the word saying, use this is fantastic, very intuitive, how accessible it could be in terms of when you're designing that, and usable and credible. It's very important. And these are the things that we need to take in consideration inside the user experience area. And it's very important. I didn't put it on the slide, but we need to understand that what is behind the user experience umbrella. We have this layer of user interaction, information architecture, design. Basically, it's all. It's difficult to say I'm a user experience. I'm part of a user experience team, but I'm only in one specific area because user testing is there as well. It's part of that big group. And the return on investment. If we look into a small indie developer that just built a site and doesn't take into consideration some areas that are very important, like how easy it is to log in, how easy it is to basically register for that specific product. We need to take all this because this is time that we spend building, and the idea is to don't start going like waterfall mode. Try to review, try to see if we can improve things. And the ROI, what we can bring is like increased productivity, because we never know if we're building the product for a company. Just imagine building, I didn't have the chance, but I had a friend that was that fantastic experience building a stock dashboard interface for HSBC. If you don't build that is a product that is run internally for the company, for HSBC. And if you don't build that in an intuitive and simple way, the production could go down. The same with an interface for Amazon, for labels and all that. How easy is we need to bring that into a different and easy level. Reduce costs as well, because just imagine submitting basically a product or launching a product, then after 2 weeks going back again to review more development. If during the production, if we can review that with user testing, very important to constantly run. And of course, the user experience increased sales. The user is getting basically in love about how he's using the product. Inside the user experience area as well, design for interaction. It's very important. The part of designing for interaction inside the user experience is that, you know, the way that you design an interface, it's very important. How easy, in terms of flow, if I'm logging for the first time, or if I want to go into a specific area, how simple is that? This is why I like just this bit. We need to facilitate user tasks and how the user interacts. A good example in the mobile sector, Instagram app, for example. I don't know if anyone knows, probably how many developers here? That when you move into pick the filter and move into the next screen to put basically the caption for the photo, automatically that photo is start going to the server, and you don't need to wait. This is why it's so easy when you go back to the feed. The photo is there with the filter, and that is create this simple and facilitate this instead of putting the filter right, saying okay, London, Google campus, and wait for that. You know, and what the Instagram app or the guys they did was basically between that you don't know as a user that all things happening on the background. And that is very important in the way that it's simple and the way that you design that particular area of the screen. From idea to frame, you know, we all have ideas. Moving into more like, if it's possible, because sometimes this is just one person's job or two. You know, between the idea and the actual final documentation that I used to call. You know, if it's possible, bring, you know, spend some time on workshops, brainstorm, sketch, and paper prototype, if it's possible. And after that, as soon as you know that you're into the right way, okay, just prepare the documentation for the developers, basically. Some tools and any questions? No? I'm getting too fast or no? Okay. Tools and tips. Pen and paper for me the most useful tool. Post-it notes. If I'm designing a mobile app, I can easily get basically post-it notes on portrait, landscape, and put them all together and say from this area to this one. Basically, I put like a sitemap. And putting your ideas on paper is the best thing. Wireframe software. Anyone with wireframe experience? Yeah. Very important. It's that jumping into Photoshop. You know, if you design basically before, you know, or this as non-detailed wireframe, depend how well documented you want that, or the company, or the product owner. You can pick basically offline and online wireframe tools. I just put OmniGraph that runs only on Mac, Azure. You can prototype with Azure, it's quite good, run on PC and Mac. And if you prefer online, Balsamic, it's a good one. You can basically any problem. You can run it on Blue. The problem we got with Flash and on the iPad. Run. User testing. This is very important before actually we launch. And this is part of the role of the user experience group umbrella. You can say that as well. There are a couple of free tools or tools that we can use specific for web, like Silverback, Crazy Egg, UserView. Most of these applications, what they do, basically they tracking your mouse, where you actually looking into the website, creating these hot map areas. And it's very important when you design, just put things on the right place, call to actions and all that. And tips as well. Normally I think to say like build, measure, learn. This is from the lean startup. It is very important because if you just carry on and we don't learn anything, we're just making the same mistakes again and again and again and again. And if you have this cycle of build, measure, learn, and go into small incremental releases, you can move into a good product. And this, of course, increase the user experience as well. This one, tip number 2, the 20-pound user testing. If I don't have like a user testing suite, the one that I used to use, that basically is like a big brother room with computers there. You are here and you track basically all what the user does. The same with mobile phones. The user is there and using AirPlay with Apple TV. You can bring basically the same screen on a big screen and we record the screen and we know if the user is clicking. And behind this there is a user testing person there asking questions saying, can you log in please? Can you see if you can find this specific market? How is it for you to upload them? This is very important. But this one, we tend to just bring a website or an app and present to family, mom, whatever, friends, and they say, oh man, this is fantastic. I love it. They're not honest with you. But this is why if you say, okay, I'm going to spend £20 and I go straight to Starbucks, Costa, or any place, and it's difficult. I tried this before, and just imagine I'm getting there, so any chance that I can present you my app and you give me feedback, and there are customers that say, okay, no worries, I can do that. Perfect. But you can get like a strong and sometimes cruel, honest message, and it's, oh man, this is not why. This is why if you try to basically buy a coffee to a stranger and ask for feedback, it could be good. Be good user testing because you know exactly, and you can pick because if it's a website, not the case, but like a mobile app, it's very important to be on context saying, okay, probably I'm building a utility app, and this particular user is going to use the app in this particular environment, and that is the area that I want to be and try and use it. Because when you test, the context is very important. It's the same, and the guys with disability love. They know that bringing someone sitting on a chair, oh, can you do this? It's completely different from being on my home place, and use the website, my browser. I'm more comfortable. And one thing that's very important is don't work alone. There are plenty of developers and designers out there. And for this particular case, just find a good UX partner. And I believe that you could bring good products with, mix between development and user experience. And thank you. Yeah, we have 10 minutes for questions, but I don't know if there's any questions. Okay, no questions. But yeah, some more information, LinkedIn, I'm not on Facebook, sorry. It's true.
Is it bad UX? You don't like
Sorry?
the UX on Facebook? Is that it?
They're improving what they did with the new application. It's quite good.
Could you please go back to tip 1? I just want to make this.
This is going to be available though on
Yes.
this one.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Wireframe software. So if you type wireframe software in Google, you're going to get one. Yes? In terms of user testing tools, Silverback, for example, is a screen recorder. And with the use of a webcam, you can track as well where you're looking on the computer. And basically you run the browser, Silverback is on the background, and using your webcam, track where you look actually, and track the mouse as well. And in the end, give basically a heat map and results based on questions. Because, for example, if the first question is, can you log in? And automatically the user is going to do that, start tracking in how long it's going to take from where the mouse was on the desktop to go to the login area, and if that was the same, how fast was the mouse and the high movement is one thing. And they all around this type of, I don't know if it's user review. Silverback is software that you basically need to put on a machine, and it will be like one-to-one, asking questions. User view, you can do basically web testing via browser. You just basically need a mailing list of users, you send the test, they log in into that page, and you get basically results based on that. But that one only works with basically mouse tracking, and basically it's like a step-by-step. First question, log in, or can you go to the help section? And the user does a couple of basically not exercises, but preparation. Well, probably user view. This is, they're all, crazy egg user view. They are free as a trial version, and you can try and see what is the best. I'm not sure which one supports A/B testing, because A/B testing is very important to send different interfaces or to users, and you get that. Google Analytics is quite good to track that information. If you do A/B testing, you get more results. But in the end, it's very time-consuming, and it's important to do user testing. But as a product owner, probably you should be the one taking the decisions, but at the same time, getting this input from users. And I'm not on that specific department, but it's tricky. Normally, we tend to contact between 35 and 45, 50 users from different ranges. And if it's mobile specific as well, from Android to BlackBerry, to bring the same app to a BlackBerry user that use an iPhone, just to see how simple and easy it is for a non-BlackBerry user to use an iPhone, that specific iPhone app that is the same product. Yeah. And basically in the end, it's a massive documentation, and it's interesting. It's not I'm not 100% on that.
There's a website called usertest.com as well, which is not available, like crowd testing. So you pay X for one user, for example, and then what they do is they get a random person to test your system. They check all the names, the notes the person gives, and also they do a video of the person using your system. Then you actually use it in everyone.
You mentioned before, I think it was a Silverback one, that it does webcam-based eye tracking. Is that any good? I attended a talk by a person who worked for a company that did eye tracking, and they said, oh, you've got to have this major hardware thing, properly calibrated, all that sort of thing. I'm really pleased to hear that you can get away with just that.
I know. To be honest, with the eye tracking, I saw a company using basically glasses as well to do testing with eye tracking, just for specific event, Ascot, horse racing, and the idea was to pick basically the best place for advertise. And just imagine it was it was like 45 guys with these specific glasses, that with some recording machine that was picking areas, and in the end, it's tricky to say which one is the best one. For example, Silverback for price, comparing with other devices, that basically the problem is that you put the user in front of. I used to work with 3 years behind with the company that the usability lab. Basically, the computer was so big that there was like a kind of Kinect machine on top that was not a Kinect. It was basically webcams, and all that basically changed completely the behavior. And if this is inside that is using the webcam, the user knows, because we tend to say, look, we're recording this information. Probably the user could be more engaged with that and relaxed than actually being sitting in front of a 17-inch and a Kinect doing with a bunch of cameras. There are a lot of material on the web, and this is a completely different world. User testing.
Can I ask a follow-up question? a lot of this is web-centric. What about mobile? Do you have any thoughts?
Sorry?
Mobile.
Mobile is tricky.
Such thing exists, I don't know.
On Android, I think that you can do that, but you need to not jailbreak, but you need to jailbreak the phone, whatever. And there is a layer on top of the app. The user doesn't see it, but because that phone is connected by and with specific phones, it's connected by wireless to a TV, and you can see basically where the user is pressing. But it's only like, because eye tracking on a mobile phone is so small, that area, that it's tricky to find what is the
I
best.
was thinking most of them have like hand
No.
Okay.
But to be honest, I saw some guys doing this is like a mix between a Lego and a phone and a webcam, just to test like Nokia phones. That was impossible to track or connect a VGA or HDMI cable or whatever. And just imagine you with a N95 and with a small camera pointing here and one doing this in front of you, and basically that was sending two signals. It's tricky. Testing in mobile specific. Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to know, as an experienced designer, I'd like to know if there was, because it's standard testing time, considering the fact that you have highlighted the lean startup via the model there.